Come in, sir. Thank you. Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Please come, take your seat. PAVITHRA MUTYAP.
Yes.
So you are from Hyderabad, Jubilee Hills. You have an option of removing this also if you like, so that there will be clarity in whatever you.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. So your route is IIT, IIM, and IAS.
Yes, sir.
So you studied engineering in IIT Hyderabad and management in IIM.
Yes.
Do you know what is the topmost post that you can aspire to become if you join IAS?
Yes, sir. The cabinet secretary, sir.
Do you know what is the basic pay of cabinet secretary?
Yes, sir. 2,25,000.
2,25,000 is chief secretary. 2,50,000 is the cabinet secretary. So you have already reached that scale. So why do you want to get into IAS?
Sir, I think a career in civil services will help make a very meaningful impact on the society, sir, and also on the lives of large number of people. And more importantly, the diversity that a career in civil services offers. I think no private sector job offers that diversity, sir.
So that's why I would prefer to have a career in civil services.
Okay. So money is not that important.
Sir, money is important, but if you are looking at a career for a period of 30 to 35 years, I think it should be more meaningful and sustainable. So that's why I'm looking for a career in civil services.
Good. Do you know in Hyderabad, the police department have created some new teams to take care of the women? What are they called?
She teams, sir.
Do you know the full form of the abbreviated acronym SHE? SHE? Safety, health, and environment. No, you took anthropology as one of the optionals.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what are the scheduled agency areas that you know of in the state of Telangana?
Sir, you mean some particularly vulnerable tribes?
No, areas which are declared as scheduled areas or agency areas.
Sir, we have the Nalamala forest where we have the vulnerable Chenchu tribes. So that is a very sensitive area for us to look after the tribes. And also in Adilabad, sir, we have the Gond tribes. These are some of the tribal agencies.
Now, what are the constitutional safeguards available to the scheduled tribes in these scheduled or agency areas with respect to their land holdings?
Sir, we have Schedule 5 where particular areas have been designated which have special control from the governor of the state, sir. Unless the governor certifies, certain laws may not be applicable, or it is better to take the consent of the governor. Also, sir, we have tribal advisory committees in these areas.
My question is relating to the land holding of the scheduled tribes. What are the constitutional safeguards or protection available? Can you buy land in, say, Hyderabad agency area, say Kerameri or Asifabad scheduled areas?
Not in
As a non-tribal? Why? What prevents you?
Sir, because we don't want to create a heterogeneous community there, because tribal have some conservative traditional rights for land ownership, and their livelihood is very closely interlinked to the land that they are living on. So by selling the land to non-tribal communities, we could be creating a heterogeneous society there, which may not be in the interest of the tribal lives.
Actually, there is a ban on sale of land by scheduled tribe to any person other than scheduled tribe. You can't buy, they can't, even if they sell, it will be void. So it's called the Scheduled Area Land Transfer Regulation, LTR. Yeah, there is a prohibition. All right. Now, there is a controversy about the Haritaharam program that is being implemented in Telangana state with reference to the scheduled areas or the tribal areas. Are you aware of any such controversy?
So controversy, I'm not aware about it, sir. But I know that Haritaharam program, we are encouraging people to plant trees. But
So under the guise of Haritaharam, Forest Department wants to plant trees in the Podu lands which are under cultivation by the scheduled tribes. So there is an irritant there. So and it has become very controversial. And there are some fights which are going on. Forest officers are being attacked. Have you not noticed in Kagajinagar area, for instance?
sorry, sir, I missed this.
Now tell me, you also studied economics in your engineering. Okay,
Yes.
what is the problem with Sri Lanka today?
Sir, there is an economic crisis in Sri Lanka currently. This is because of the balance of payments crisis that the country is facing. This is due to a combination of several factors, sir. Number one, of course, it's historical that the country has been facing, but the reason why it is aggravated recently now is because of a combination of factors like the current economic situation in the global trade order and also some misguided policies of the government, sir. For instance, Sri Lanka is actually an export dominated country, like they grow tea, rice, etc. But because of the pandemic, these exports have been badly hit, trade has been impacted. And also there were some misguided policies, sir. For instance, the fertilizer bill was creating a huge dent on the imports that the country had to take. So they initiated a policy to have only organic farming so that the fertilizer bill decreases. But then that led to a huge impact on the outcome from agriculture. So that created an impact on the incomes that ultimately.
Understand that. Tell me that states of Telangana and AP are being criticized for getting into a debt trap. Okay. Do you think these states will also have to face a similar crisis as Sri Lanka is facing in future?
Sir, I do not think so, sir. Sir, two reasons. Number one, though we are borrowing higher than the limit, sir, I see a very positive scope in future for us to recover this or generate this revenue within our own state, sir. Also, second reason, which I think is more important, is we always have the center, sir, to come to the support of the states. So,
Tell me, what is the meaning of accrual accounting vis-a-vis cash accounting?
sir, in accrual accounting, we believe that at some point in time we will be able to expect a cash flow in our account. But given the timeline, let's assume 30 days down the line, we expect 30 units of money. So in accrual accounting, 15 days from now, we will add to our balance sheet that 15 units of the money has already come into our account. So that is accrual accounting, sir. Whereas in the latter case, in cash accounting, only when the cash flow has occurred and entered our account or balance sheet, we put it into our books, sir.
One fundamental principle, since you studied finance, in accrual accounting, in estimating the expenditure and estimating the revenues. So what should be the principle in estimating these two? Estimate your revenues on the most conservative basis. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, in your consultancy organizations, if you have to bid for some consultancy projects, you have something called institutional rates and individual rates for the consultants. So, what is the difference between the individual rate and the institutional rate? Suppose the project requires 1,000 man hours. So, how do you bid for the project?
Sir, to bid for the project, we will first estimate the number of resources required to complete this work, sir. And we will also gather the skill sets required for each of these resources. And we estimate a particular cost, sir, for every resource. And we try to come up with the most conservative or the most probably the most cost effective estimate, and we bid to the client, sir. And the most competitive bid will.
Yeah, but then you didn't differentiate. You didn't answer my question.
Yes.
An individual is paid say for instance hourly 5,000 rupees. And the institutional rate includes the individual's rate plus the overheads, the leisure time spent, the library hours, isn't it? You don't calculate institutional rate. And you have to recover for the organization certain amount. You have the targets?
Yes.
All right. You have that practice there in your, you call it by some other name or in Capgemini where you work?
Sir, I have
Not been involved in any bid so far.
Now tell me before I pass on to my colleague. Is Hyderabad Metro Rail project a successful project or not, according to you?
It's successful project.
Project, sir.
What are the parameters that you have in mind when you say it's successful?
So, number one, the first parameter that I am looking at, because we are in a highly traffic congested city, is an amount of time it takes to travel, sir. To travel from one end of the city, let's say high-tech city where there is a last stop, to Uppal, I think it hardly takes 40 minutes, less than 40 minutes by metro. If a common man were to take any other form of transport, it would take at least 2 hours during the peak hours, sir. So on that basis, I think it is a huge success, sir.
From your commuter point of view, what about the investor's point of view? Who is the owner of Metro Rail, by the way? Who has invested on the project?
We have L&T as one of the partners,
So
sir.
from L&T's perspective, is it a successful project or not?
Sir, I think
It is a successful project because even if right now we don't have the returns, given the population in Hyderabad and the amount of traffic that we see, over a period of time, L&T will certainly be able to recover the money invested, sir.
Okay, Pavitra, you are a highly qualified person, I could see. Not only you got B.Tech in computers and digital everything, and you also did IIT Bangalore, which is a prestigious institute. How do you think all this knowledge you accumulated over the years can be utilized in the administration?
Sir, I think my knowledge in computer science and management will help me be a better civil servant, sir. Number one, first talking about my B.Tech in computer science, for the reason that technology is embedded in our day-to-day governance today. So I think it will help me better evaluate policies and determine the effects on how, for instance, like most policies can be data driven. So it will help me better analyze these policies and evaluate the impact it can have on the society, sir. And from a management perspective, sir, I think a post-graduation in management has overall improved my analytical skills and problem-solving skills, which again I think will help me as a team player when I'm in administration, sir.
You said this, your knowledge in the computers will help. A particular case you take it, you are posted in the district as a collector, let us say after getting selected. How do you go about it, in fact? What exactly improvements you can think of by applying this computer knowledge or management knowledge? Specific measures you wanted to initiate.
Sir, if I can take the instance of Hyderabad itself and the problem we just discussed about the traffic congestion in the city, I'm assuming if I'm in Hyderabad, sir, I can use my knowledge, let's say in IoT, Internet of Things. I can use this technology to be deployed within all the traffic congested zones in the city, and we can create a smart technology to ease the flow of traffic movements. For instance, there's different signals in Hyderabad where it creates a bottleneck zone. So the wait times are far higher. Whereas we also notice at some signals there is green light, but there are hardly any vehicles there. So we can streamline this process, sir, to adjust the signals in such a manner that will improve the flow of traffic by creating a channel of communication between different traffic points in the city. So that way we can use technology to ease common man's problems.
Yeah, as an administrator, you are supposed to take a lot of decisions. What are you, because you studied already these two subjects I'm asking, what are the main components in taking a decision making? What are the factors which will affect?
So I can think of 2-3 key factors, sir. Number one, we should look at whether it is in the interest of the stakeholders, sir, whoever will be impacted by the decision. That is the first criteria. Whether it will be the people will trust this decision, or is it in their interest and welfare. That is the first criteria, sir. Number two, we will look at the cost that this decision will have on the resources of the organization or on the government. And number three, sir, also we should look at the long term and the sustainability impact. Whether the decision in the short term may be very productive, but in the long term what effects it will have, that also we should consider when we take a decision, sir.
What exactly the process of decision making?
Sir, in decision making, I think there are 3 key components, sir. First is data gathering. We should first have adequate data before we take any decision. And second step, sir, is analysis of the data, basically to drive inputs and understand from where or what is the most, if I can say, what is creating the most impact or what is creating the most problems that we have to analyze, sir. And number 3 ultimately is to evaluate the impact of the possible options in front of us, sir. And final decision will be based on the most utilitarian aspect from the entire analysis of the 3-step process, sir.
Now we hear a lot about the petrodollar. Petrodollars. Because you are marketing, everything is there. What exactly is the petrodollar? Why people are talking about it now?
Sir, I'm sorry, I'm not able to recall the exact definition, sir, but can I just guess, sir? Sir, I'm not able to recall. I read about this, but I'm not sure if it relates to cryptocurrencies or related to trading in oil, sir. Sorry, I'm not able to recall.
So long, the oil, gas, these are all traded only in dollar. With the sanctions by the US government, they wanted to actually put Russia under pressure. Now, as a counter, Russian president has said to decrease the value of the dollar. He said petrol or gas will be sold or traded in other currencies. This is going to impact a lot. How exactly, in your opinion, will the dollar will lose its value or will it remain same? If so, why?
Sir, I think it will certainly have an impact on the US dollar, sir. For instance, if we talk about the India-Russia trade itself, because we are looking at alternate routes to bypass the sanctions that have been imposed on Russia by the Western nations. So we are looking at trying to trade in rupee and ruble. So sir, I think this particular form of currency will help us subvert or divert from the sanctions that have been imposed by the Western countries. So the grip that the Western nations are trying to impose on the global order will be subverted through this form, sir. So that way the dollar will definitely be impacted, and it may decrease the importance that it has in the global order, sir.
Dollar is not held only by US. In fact, 70% of the dollar is held by other countries, particularly China. So will China allow the dollar to fall down?
Sir, I don't think China will allow the dollar value to be deteriorated in the immediate short term, for the fact that you have most importantly highlighted, sir, because they themselves hold a large value of the dollars. But sir, I think long term aspect, China also would like to diversify from dollars, sir, because US and China themselves are not getting along very well. So I think in the long term, China would appreciate or try to diversify the currency basket, sir.
Diversified. They have given loans to more than 100 countries. Now, very few countries are not having debt with China now. So, but China is a oil or gas hungry country. They import from every country, in fact, because of their industry. So in that way, in their own interest, they will not allow dollar to fall immediately, as you rightly said. In the long run, whether they will be able to, because to trade this, all other countries should have a confidence in China's currency, which is not having so far. How much time it will take, it's a matter of time. That has to be borne in mind. Okay.
Ms. Pavitra, while discussing about the decision making, you talked about the collection of the data, processing, evaluation, etc. Such decisions, can we call them as the highest decisions or the ordinary decisions?
So I think at any level when we take a decision, we have to follow this process, sir, whether it's at the highest level or at Sir, there are three kinds of decisions, I think, sir. One is at the grassroots level. The people who are on the field, they take some decisions. That is number one. Number two is at the mid level, who are managing, let's say, a certain group of people who are working at a grassroots level. And the third is at the highest level, sir. For instance, a district collector, that is the highest level of decision making, sir.
So the decisions which are taken at the highest level can be called as
highest.
So did you hear the decision making intuitive decisions? What you said, the decisions are called postman decisions. A postman, when a cover comes, he puts in the weighing machine, see how much is to be paid for this, accordingly put the everything. That's called the postman decision. But at a higher level, are you going to take the postman decisions? You are going to take intuitive decisions. What exactly do we mean by intuitive decisions? You got an idea?
Yes, sir. Sir, intuitive decisions, basically we do have a certain memory in our mind, and also some decisions we take based on our own analysis. So though we don't have any data in front of us, based on our past knowledge, so our mind directs us or indicates us to lean towards a particular decision. So that is known as intuitive decision making, sir.
So you answered on a question, why are you coming for the civil services? You got the concern for the society, isn't it? You are born in Hyderabad only, right? In Hyderabad there is one couple, they are known as the road doctors. Road doctors. Are you aware of this couple?
Sir, I saw a very small documentary on them, that they help the downtrodden of the society and also people who are affected with certain.
Road doctors.
Only for road.
Sorry, sir,
Probably
probably.
I'm mistaken with someone else.
There is a documentary on the road doctors also.
Yeah. So Pavitra, your father works in, he already retired from as a director from waterworks, isn't it? Now tell us the schemes taken up by the Telangana government for taking care of water in Telangana state.
Sir, there are two primary schemes, sir. The first one is Mission Kakatiya, where the government is planning to supply drinking water to every rural household in Telangana. And sir, we also have the Kalishwaram Project, sir, which is a lift irrigation project. And this is basically to tap the water of Godavari for the benefit of people in Telangana, instead of letting huge water be let it flow into the sea, sir, instead of leaving it untapped. This is a project to use that water for irrigation purposes, sir.
So Telangana has taken a project for filling the tanks. What is it called?
Mission Kakatiya, sir.
About household.
Sorry, sir.
Anyway, you heard about Yadagiri Gutta?
Yes, sir.
Now today it's called the Yadadri.
Yes.
Now tell us, they spent more than 1800 crores to bring this shape to this Yadadri. The entire amount is from the state exchequer. Now whether the state is authorized to spend money on the temples like this, don't you think it is going against the principle called secularism?
Sir, I do not think we are going against secularism, sir. Sir, state also has a responsibility to protect and build the culture of the state, sir. And I think that way Yadgiri Gutta is a very important shrine in the state, sir. So I think we are making an investment to protect our heritage, and it will have a huge impact for many years to come, sir. Maybe this year or in the past few years we will have a huge dent on the exchequer, but going forward it will become a shrine of prime importance, sir. So I do not think it was an unjustified expenditure, sir.
Suppose if some people demand that our temple should also be built like that, are you going to accept the demands of those people?
So as a secular state, we promote we protect the interest of all religious groups, sir. But when we have such huge spending involved, we usually take into consideration the history of the associated temple or the shrine, sir, and the heritage that is involved. So that way Yadgiri Gutta has a lot of importance attached to it, given the history that is associated with the temple, sir. So other temples may not have as much history as Yadgiri Gutta, sir. So we may try to help in the capacity that is proportional to the history attached to the shrine, sir. I know it's very hard for us to quantify these aspects, but maybe we can go in proportion to the.
You heard about Bonalu from Telangana?
Yes, sir.
What exactly this festival? How is it related to the anthropology?
Hello.
Sir, Bonalu is it's a festival, sir, where they pray for woman deity, sir, goddess, and they offer. So basically, they.
Okay.
Sorry, sir.
You got CCMB. So you got CCMB in Hyderabad.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, similar. So this institution conducted a research on one primary tribals, primitive tribals. They observed these tribals that travel from a longer distances, somewhere in some African continent. They came to our Andaman Nicobar, Philippines, Australia, like that. What they observed was that from the last 60,000 years, there was no change as far as their food habits are concerned, their dressing pattern is concerned, and the CCMB felt so happy that we discovered this tribe started 60,000 years ago in the same way. But as an administrator, when you look at this tribe, do you feel excited, enthusiastic about the lifestyle of these people? What is your impression on the tribe?
Sir, if I'm not mistaken, we are referring to the Jarawa tribes of Andaman and Nicobar, right, sir?
There is one tribe which started long back. So my question is, the CCMB got excited that they discovered this tribe, the same pattern of the dressing, food habits again. As a human being, will you be excited to see the tribe in the same way?
Sir, honestly, I would not be excited, sir. I think I would be happy that in a way we are able to study the primitive traits of the culture that we had many years ago. But sir, the challenge for me would be that the tribe has not progressed in terms of the socio-economic indicators, sir. And in spite of progressing in an independent country for more than 75 years, we were not able to have interaction with the mainstream of the society for the tribe. So this could have, is probably the reason that they're lagging behind in terms of education, health, etc. So that would be the challenge. So it may not lead to as much excitement.
As an administrator, what is your concern? Do you want to bring these people as the other people, or do you want to leave them as they are?
Sir, I think I would follow a middle path, sir, for the reason that having or forcing them to mix with the society may not be in their interest, or they may not have psychological comfort, sir. In fact, it may create more mental stress and pressure for the group. At the same time, letting them continue in the same manner may lead to deterioration of socio-economic indicators, so like their health or education, etc. So sir, I would try to take the help of anthropologists who have lived with the tribe or spend a lot of time with the tribes, and gain their confidence in trying to explain the positive aspects of mingling with the mainstream society, sir. At least with the younger generation, we could probably leverage on improving the educational parameters.
Yes. Suppose the people among the tribals, they want to get mingled in the society. Now, what do you advocate as a student of anthropology? What type of strategies you would follow to bring these people to the mainstream?
Sir, if the tribal group itself is interested to mingle, I think it would be a very encouraging and a positive step, sir. But I think I would take care of or put in some measures of protection, sir, because it's highly possible that given their lack of awareness in the society, they could be exploited once they join the mainstream. So I think I would take some measures, sir. For instance, have protection for them. Some security forces.
I'm asking about what are the processes you are going to adopt to bring them into the mainstream.
So first would be relocation, is to identify a suitable place for their, let's say, relocation into the mainstream society. And sir, the housing pattern that we should adopt should be in line with their existing housing pattern that they follow, or the distribution of the houses that they have in their own tribal traditional society, sir.
So what about their mindset? So you are talking about providing all the facilities, but the mindset is more important to utilize all those things. What type of mindset you are going to advocate for these people?
Sir, I think we should conduct some awareness sessions, sir, for the tribals before we bring them into the mainstream society. We should give them some both precautions and advices.
Said in this respect, have you got an idea?
Sir, sir, specifically in this context, I am not aware, sir. Sorry.
Ms. Pavitra, you have opted for IAS, IPS, but not opted for IFS. Any specific dislike or what?
Sir, no dislike, sir. I think IFS officers are extremely very important because of the diplomatic influence that they have and the benefit they can create for the country at an international level. However, sir, for me personally, I have been more interested in working within India at a grassroots level. Hence, I have not opted for the IFS.
How serious you are with regard to painting as a hobby?
Sir, painting mostly has been a time-filling activity for me, sir, because given my work and preparing for the civil services, I had very little time to pursue, sir. But when I was in school and college, it was a mainstream hobby for me, sir. At least every 3-4 days I would paint for sure.
Any connection with kalamkari work?
Sir, personally, I have not done the kalamkari painting, but kalamkari painting is one of the form of paintings in Telangana, Andhra, sir, and it has become hugely popular now, specifically on textiles.
So, what is your take on marital rape exception?
Sir, in my opinion, marital rape has to be eliminated, sir. It can't be an exception. Yes, sir. The exception is if the victim is not under 18 years, then it is not considered to be a crime, sir. That is the exception. Yes, sir.
Recently, one High Court scheme and decision.
Yes, sir, the Karnataka High Court has said that just because the perpetrator is the husband does not mean that he can go scot-free and he will have to face punishment. So the Karnataka High Court has recently given the judgment.
What is the underlying principle? Because husband has got right to live with the wife, but what is the underlying principle which goes against this exception?
Sir, the core underlying principle that is going against the exception that earlier the Supreme Court had ruled is against the equality of different people, sir. And the Constitution, the core principle is
Right, yes. The Constitution
fights for equality, so that is what is the core principle. So that is where the High Court had said this can't be an exception, sir.
What is hedging?
Sir, hedging is a strategy in finance where we try to invest in two diverse sectors, sir. For instance, if I can explain with an example, if I have 100 units of money, I would invest 50 units in an ice cream company and 50 units in a company that makes umbrellas, sir. For the fact that whether it rains or it is hot, if it is hot, the ice cream sales would go up, whereas if it rains, the sales of umbrellas would go up. So I am sure that my money would give me returns in one of the either way. So I am trying to hedge my income by investing in a suitable, possibly higher return gaining company, sir.
Etymologically speaking, what is the meaning of hedging?
So hedge basically means to try to protect our interest by creating some.
Have you seen the movie Jai Hind or heard about it?
I heard about it, sir, but I haven't.
Haven't watched it.
More about that movie, the content of the movie, your conversation.
So I haven't seen it, but I've heard it is a very progressive film, and a lot of people told me that they watched it at least 3 to 4 times, sir. So it released just before mains.
Tell me something about criminal procedure identification bill. Is it an attack on privacy or is it okay? Have you heard about this bill?
So this bill
Basically is to collect the data or the identity of a suspect or a convicted person in terms of, let's say, their fingerprints or their biometric details, sir. The reason the bill has run into controversy is when we say biometrics, and the bill also says analysis of the biometrics, sir. This could also lead to DNA analysis of the data.
That's okay, that's the fact of the bill. But what is your opinion? Is it an attack on privacy or all right?
Sir, compared to what we had earlier, it seems like an attack on privacy. However, sir, most developed nations already have such a bill, and I think having such data will help resolve cases in a much faster manner, and also detect the convicted or find out who actually is the criminal in a much speedy manner, sir, and in an accurate manner. So I think that way the bill is helpful, sir.
What is the halal disturbance going on in Karnataka, Bangalore? Halal cut, halal.
Sorry, sir, I am not.
Hijab, you are aware?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
Sir, hijab is a scarf or a clothing that some Muslim women wear, sir. And right now there is a row in Karnataka because some schools did not allow students to wear hijab and enter school. Sir, burqa is clothing which covers from head to toe, sir, except at the eyesight level. The body is covered from head to toe, whereas hijab is only a scarf, sir, that is wrapped around the head.
As an economic student, have you come across the Gresham's law? Law.
Sorry, sir, I'm not able to.
What is the Malthusian theory of population?
Sir, the Malthusian's theory of population states that the growth in population may be exponential, whereas the growth in the food available is linear. So at one point,
You are selected as IAS, into IAS, then appointed as a municipal commissioner. Hyderabad. So when there is a torrential rains are always, every year it is expected. Torrential rain, but there will be lot of clogging, water clogging. When it is a annual ritual, then as a municipal commissioner, what is your take? How are you going to handle it so that it will not repeat in the next regional years? Rains are always every season it comes, but every year again the clogging will be there. How will you going to handle such situation?
sir, I think we can take a three-step approach to resolve this problem, sir. Number one, sir, we should improve the groundwater recharge that is currently there in the city, sir. We have encroachments on many water beds in the city. So we should clear the constructions in this area, sir, so that there is absorption of the water.
How will be your action within that 3 years of stay in the municipal?
Sir, my action, I will
Take these actions, sir. Yes. So one is to clear the encroachments on water beds, sir, so that the rainwater can be absorbed. Number two, I will promote rainwater harvesting, sir, so that incentivize rainwater harvesting, so that we can tap the water in the concrete jungle within the city, sir. And number three, sir.
Outskirts, but in the city proper, how are you going to handle? Because waterlogging is in the main roads only.
Sir, in the cities also, in the mainstream, let's say apartments, we can still have rainwater harvesting channels and rainwater harvesting pits, sir. So I will encourage construction of this mechanism, sir.
Within your tenure of 3 years, what will be your concrete action? So that it will, my question is, so that it will last for another reasonable years, some reasonable years. Not that after you go away from Hyderabad, again waterlogging will be taken care of by another municipal commissioner. Your measures should be permanent, and so that no waterlogging in Hyderabad for another reasonable years, say 5 years.
Sir,
You have limited period.
yes, yes, sir.
Limited period and responsibility is longer.
Sir, one of the other important action I would take is also to overhaul the stormwater drain system that is present in the city, sir. I think right now it has limited capacity. I would take steps to ensure that the torrential rains, the water is being able, we are able to absorb all this water in the stormwater drain, sir. I will improve the capacity that we have in the present sewerage system in the city, sir.
So, suppose you are supposed to give go for a bid as a municipal commissioner, but they demanded some price which you don't want to give. Meanwhile, they have allotted that tender to somebody else. How are you going to handle the situation? Because you lost somebody else has got it, but no fault of yours. Bribe was unethical, you have not given bribe. Had you given bribe, then you would have got this thing, you got good name. Now you got a bad name because you lost the tender. How are you going to handle the situation?
Sir, initially I think it would create some disappointment, sir, that I have lost the bid. However, I will not allow that to deter my future.
Steps you are going to take, what to take?
Sir, number one, I will create a very competitive bid next time, sir. I will try to improve the quality of the bid that we will submit.
Pricing, there is no problem. You are given a low price only. But some technical issues they have not given. Because to set right those technical issues, they have sought some price, you have not given. So you lost the tender.
Sir, next time I will make a double check to make sure that all technical specifications.
This person is scot free. Next year, suppose you won't get any other chance to go for a bid in your next career.
Sir, I will report. Sir, I will report that a fair bid process should be conducted and an investigation should be done into the process in which the bids were awarded, sir.
So I will raise a complaint.
Complaint with the authority.
But how do you prove that he has sought it right?
Sir, I think if a third party can do the analysis of the bids and if my bid can qualify for it, easily we will be able to prove that despite being a competitive.
How will you come to know that other party's bid is inferior and yours is eligible? Then you should have information. File to report to the higher ups that my bid is I am perfectly alright. I have not got, somebody else has got.
Sir, we keep having.
Get that information.
Sir, when the inspections are being done by the authorities, the quality will be ascertained. So at that point.
Yeah, Pavitra, not today, April 7th. It happens to be an important day. What is it, given the global pandemic and all that? I'm also giving you a hint. What is today globally? Have you heard of World Health Day?
Yes.
Okay. You have read anything on that? What is the theme for 2022?
Sorry, sir.
Okay. Now, given the experience of the pandemic in the last 2.5 years now, how do you see Telangana state's, infrastructure, health infrastructure, coping? What are the deficiencies you have seen, and how would you like to address?
Sir, the COVID-19 pandemic has exposed a lot of deficiencies that we have in the health system in our state and in our country, sir. Sir, the foremost deficiency I see is firstly the number of doctors that we have. The World Health Organization has actually recommended a doctor to population ratio 1:1000, but we have only 0.67:1000. There we are lacking very badly in terms of the health personnel that is available. So second one is the institutional support that we have. The number of hospitals, there is a huge disparity in the urban and rural areas, sir. We have very good hospitals and doctors in urban areas, but these facilities are not available in the rural areas, sir. So infrastructurally also we have deficiencies.
Primary healthcare centers, no? They are not good. Have you seen any?
So I haven't seen any, but the deficiency as such comes with the expertise, sir. That's mostly in terms of first aid care or immediate support. Whereas if we are looking, for instance, for a rural patient who is suffering with dialysis, a primary health center may not be as adequately equipped to help the patient, sir. So that is a challenge in rural areas.
Do you think the recent state budget has addressed any of these concerns in terms of decentralizing infrastructure, strengthening rural healthcare infrastructure?
Yes, sir, we are also encouraging district hospitals and setting up of new medical colleges. I think this is a two-step process to address both the number of medical personnel in the state and also to improve the infrastructure, sir.
One of the announcements was that every district in Telangana will have a medical college. Announcement like having a cinema theatre. Is it possible, according to present conditions, to set up a medical college?
Sir, I think it is definitely possible, sir, but we'll have to put in a lot of efforts and have a lot of regulations into how the whole thing would be set up, sir. So there are no loopholes or there are no deficiencies in the quality of infrastructure or the students coming in, sir.
Already a huge shortage of doctors and teachers. So how do you start a college? Just a building will not suffice, no? Yeah. Anyway, I think you, for an earlier answer, you gave a very idealistic response, saying that you're moving from a very lucrative career to serving a large section of people. I think very laudable. Now, if you look at very recently, there was an article by one of our retired bureaucrats, very well-known bureaucrat. He said, "What ails the IAS?" There's some more article saying, the IAS is not serving its purpose. There are a lot of disillusionment. Now, you want to leave a highly lucrative, you might go into millions and billions if you're abroad. Now, this is a situation where you want to jump into. Have you read this and are you aware of the challenges? Do you think you will be able to cope with this?
So yes, this was a statement made by Shri Duvuri Subbarao, sir, former RBI governor. Sir, I think the challenges that the IAS is facing, there are some challenges, sir, and it is true. But then, sir, I think given a country of our size, a population of 1.3 billion, and 75 years since our independence, we have done very well, sir. It is laudable, the progress that we have made. I think some challenges or some issues which we were not able to resolve can't be the reasons for disillusionment in the future, sir.
Living on hope. All of us have grown up on hope. So what we are saying is in terms of translating this into concrete actions. That is why there is a disillusionment in terms of decline in abilities, in quality, and in administrative capabilities and governance. So all big words I'm using, but as somebody who wants to get in, are you mentally prepared? you feel you have the strength?
Yes, sir. I think I
Certainly have the strength, sir, and I'm very much looking forward, sir. But I also understand there are some challenges which I believe with the right combination of both spirit and having a clear understanding of the problems, we will be able to come up with the right solutions, sir.
Again, you have a lot of exposure into process-driven work culture, wherever you have worked. Now, when you go into some of these government-run schemes and all that, there are, certain processes, but I think, administering them will be quite a challenge, and you have a global view. Now you have to dumb it down to local view, but what is called local. Now, are you getting prepared? Have you seen some of the ground realities in your life around you?
yes, sir.
Sir, my father also has been into public service for over 30 years. So I very closely interact with him to understand what are the problems that he sees and what are the steps he's been taking to solve these issues, sir. So I do understand the reality at a grassroots level, sir, and I'm hoping that I can make an impact at that level, sir.
That is in a way inspiration, not a disillusionment in this context of what is being written about.
Yes, sir.
So
He's a very
good,
successful
very good,
engineer in
very good.
Hyderabad.
Yeah.
He worked with me.
Okay, very good. Anyway, one more issue. What is the Stand Up India scheme? Have you heard of this? There is this tendency to have Startup India, Make in India, Made in India. No, this is something called Stand Up India. What is this Stand Up India?
Sir, Stand Up India is a scheme of the Government of India where they are offering loans to certain sections of the society like scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, women at very competitive rates of interest, sir, so that they can start a business of their own or can be entrepreneurs, which in a way can create a cycle of employment or generate employment to other people, sir.
Again, this is a very good initiative. Have you read anything about it in terms of taking this into action? Number of people getting into entrepreneurship or success of the scheme. Have you read, or you also left at the slogan part?
Sir, I am aware of the scheme at an implementation level. For instance, in the Telangana state, the scheme is known as steep ride, sir, where loans are offered to different sections like the sections we just discussed about. And for instance, this has been very successful in the transport sector, sir, where a lot of cabs that we see actually have this logo printed behind the vehicle, assisted under the Steep Ride scheme. We see a large number of vehicles in the city, sir.
Sir, enough to indicate that it's doing well.
Label certainly is not adequate.
Branding, are not, they're very deceptive.
So,
I just meant at a ground level we are able to see it, but a large number of loans have been dispersed, sir. I'm sorry, I'm not aware of the exact numbers on how many beneficiaries we have so far in the country.
Okay, good. So, Pavitra, your personality test is over, and we have taken about 50 minutes. UPSC normally takes about 30 minutes, so 25 minutes to 35 minutes. All right. So now what we propose to do is to give you feedback as to how you acquitted yourself in this whole process of personality test, one after the other. Then later, if you have any clarifications to seek, you can seek. Okay. So I must say that you are quite cheerful. You have a smile on the face, which is a good. You are also very confident. But at the same time, I must say that even if you are aware of the likely answer that you have to give, you are very slow. You can assert yourself a little bit. The speed can increase because you have the information and you have the ability to speak fast also. Whenever you are confident in replying, you are speaking quite well. So And whenever you do not know the answer for any particular question, you don't have to be apologetic. You must say, sorry, I am not aware of it, or I am not able to recollect. That's it. And your confidence level should not come down. You don't have to be apologetic at all. You don't have to know everything under the sun. All right. So if you can increase the pace of your, speech, it will be good. And of course, you said whenever you didn't know, very frankly, that you are not aware. But the only thing is, if you are not clear about the question, you can upfront seek a clarification. Instead of saying, sorry, I thought, you asked this or that. Okay. There's nothing wrong in seeking a clarification politely, whether to repeat the question or to seek a clarification on the doubts if you have any. And that will be good. And then don't be quiet for long. If you are thinking of an answer, you may say, can I take a few seconds to answer? Just don't sit, quietly for more than 3-4 seconds. Immediately you respond, saying, I don't know, or can I take a few seconds, or can I make a guess? There should not be long gap. Okay. Then I think your knowledge about international affairs, national affairs is all quite good, but you need to brush on the local issues, like Hyderabad Metro Rail project, for instance, which is the in thing. From the newspapers, you must have been saying that it is not running to the full capacity because of pandemic. It's a different issue. Maybe it's a force majeure or something like that. But one leg has not been completed. It has not been taken up to Falaknuma Palace. So the L&T keeps on cribbing, saying, we were not allowed to take. And their revenues to that extent are also not flowing in. That is one. Then government stopped construction for a while after the new government has been formed. They have not been compensated for the delay, the overruns. So there's a lot of information available about metro rail and other urban projects. Since you are from Hyderabad, you must know about various projects taken up in Hyderabad. 2, your own subject, anthropology, which you have taken, you should be more sensitive towards the problems of tribals of Telangana and the issues facing them, like the Podu cultivation, restoration of forest rights, or to the tribals under the ROFR Act. You should be more sensitive and you should understand, because anthropology is your subject. Even otherwise, you are expected to know. So brush up on these few things. I think you have a good material. You will do very well. Okay. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
I could see you have a very pleasant personality to start with, and your awareness levels are quite good on various matters. But only when you answer, you are not able to go pinpointed. Like you subjected you 2 things. I can give example. When asked about decision making, first and foremost thing is identification of the problem is important. Lot of decision makers miss that point. As a result, they go in circles. Then they have to weigh. They have to find out what resources at their command: finances, material, manpower, all this. Then they find always an alternative, because every problem has got a solution, different solutions. Then by conducting some kind of analysis, they will arrive at a best solution. That's how they can take a decision. You are also asked about 2 types of decisions. If it is taken at the highest level, that's called strategic decision. If it is at lower level, it is a tactical decision. These 2, like that, no. You have to have, because you are a highly qualified person, you can't give a general reply. You have to give a specific reply and to the point. And similarly, you also mentioned about, when I asked you become a collector, how exactly your digital knowledge will help you in solving the problems. Again, here you have to identify what are the problems. In rural areas, what happened? People produce, farmers produce, but they don't know what is the rate. The consumers wanted to know where to get it. That's why now there is a lot of emphasis on preparing apps and giving to the farmers, giving to the consumers, giving to the, like that. No, these are the various ways to think out of the box, basically. That is expected of you, in fact. So you have to brush up this. When you wanted to say something, when I say IoT, first thing IoT, okay, you said about traffic. First, what is required? You have to have a sensors to start with, which will pick up the data and transfer it to the main control room, where the data is analysis and the commands are issued after that and given to the various centers to synchronize the traffic. Like that, we have to be very clear and it's not a general way of telling, it's okay, I can improve. But what you can improve, you have to mention a bit. Then I think you have a very, very good chances of getting selected. All the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Ms. Pavitra, coming to your attire, so you are growing bigger nails. So that gives an impression. Okay, take care of those things. Now you are smearing something here.
Yes. My mom actually put it.
Okay, so there may be questions like that. So the entire attire is to be taken care of. Okay. Other aspects, you got many plus points. So I'm not going by those things. I have given my feedback. Okay. What I observed is you need to show more assertion. So when you know the answer as are said, you are giving, but when you are in a doubt, you are slowing down. So at that time you may take permission, or you can say, I don't know. So you need not know everything. But as far as the concepts are concerned, be sure. Otherwise you can say, sorry, I'm not aware of these things. Then need to listen to the question very carefully. So sometimes you are just giving at a surface level. What we expect is from a depth level. So as a professional, we want to know your depth of the subject. But now you are dealing at a very superficial level, especially sir asked on decision making. I will come back to that. Then the concepts are concerned, is very, very important. For example, what exactly do you mean by decision making? So this is a very big subject, not a small one. I asked about the road doctors, Bonalu, Mission Kakatiya, Mission Bhagirath. These are the concepts which you are supposed to learn, but you are confused with it. Okay, then you need to apply the subject. You took anthropology as your option subject. Anthropology these days became so popular that everybody wants to read something on anthropology. Everyone in the board, they are aware of the anthropology. They will ask different questions. So you have to apply your knowledge to the present circumstances. So when I am talking about CCMB, you are talking about the Jauras. So Jauras, CCMB studied a different tribe. Jauras are confined to that place. So don't jump to the questions. Okay, so don't anticipate this may be the answer. There is something in behind my brain to ask that question, to assess you. This is not to get the answer. This is to assess your personality. Each question is asked with a purpose of assessing you. Okay. Then, of course, leadership qualities as concerned, they're fine. Coming to the specific questions which I asked about. So what Sir said is that the tactical decisions, the strategic decisions, they are fine. But there are other decisions which are not the intuitive decisions. They are supposed to be the best decisions. Because your crucial decisions are all intuitive decisions. So when you are touched about this subject, it's a management domain, and you must be very careful from which angle these people are going to ask the question. Okay, when we talk about the road doctors, I got a couple in my mind specifically. They are called Kantam Gangadhar and Venkateshwari. So these are the couple. So he worked in railways. He retired. He also joined a private organization, but didn't find it convenient. So he came out. For 11 years, he has been doing the work. That means whenever they find some small damage to the road, they are putting the road on with their own money. And they were appreciated by Amitabh Bachchan, appreciated by the governor. There is a lot of talk about this couple. So because you are from Hyderabad, I want to know, because you want to come to this public area, so I want to know whether you are aware of this type of people. Then Kakatiya, Mission Kakatiya, this is about the tanks, not about the giving water. Giving water is to the Bhagirath, scheme of Bhagirath. And we got in Telangana, suppose if you give the answer, I might have asked the number of tanks. For your information, 46,531 tanks are there in Telangana.
Not overhead tanks.
Not overhead tanks.
Ponds, irrigation tanks. So you are confusing between overhead tank.
Not overheads. They're all Kakadiyas means they're meant for the water tanks. So those are overhead tanks. So the name is given in the honor of, yeah. So in the honor of the great rulers, they took care of the water tanks for the irrigation purposes and of course for the drinking purposes. 265 TMC is the storage capacity they are now contemplating. And of course, Megiddo is for the safe drinking for both villages and the cities. Then Yadagiri temple, your answer is good. So I appreciate that answer. You gave a nice answer. And Bonalu, I asked about the relationship with the anthropology. No, that you failed. You didn't understand the topic. Bonalu means what? Bhojanam. That's called the food. So why Bonalu is now celebrated and how is it related? So in the tribals also the lady deity is very, very prominent. There they want to satiate. In the name of the deity, these people are going to have food. So that's that. Now there is a big relation between these two. Okay, then the other aspect is about the CCMB. And I took you to a place how you are going to bring the tribals into the mainstream. And in this context, I asked about M.N. Srinivas. So M.N. Srinivas is known for certain concepts like the Sanskritization, then Westernization, then he came back to the modernization. So these are the basic concepts you are supposed to learn as an anthropologist. So brush. When is your interview?
4th May, sir.
4th May.
Yes,
You don't have to time. So brush up the concepts.
Okay, sir.
Okay, that
Yes,
will
sir.
definitely help you. As Sir said, you must know about Hyderabad and Telangana. It's a very promising state, and we got a lot of schemes which the government has taken very prestigiously, and of course there is a lot of attention on our state also. It's very dynamic now. So basing on that thing, you have to project as an ambassador from.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, now everything is fine, but you have to increase the tempo and the voice also you should raise a little bit more. Because we are very close, we can hear to you. Otherwise, us seems to be a little feeble. Okay, have more confidence. You are already working women, so we expect the senior level you are working. So we expect a little more out of box thinking, not the usual casual day. Okay, when as a municipal commissioner, how are you going to handle this water logging and all? I expect that such certain specific measures before the monsoon season starts, you have to pre-check it. How are the roads? How are the things? Where are the regular repeated logging is there? Those areas you have to focus, because some canals, that the drains and all, you should have taken out. And when the bribe and bid that thing, how will you get the information? RTI is there. You should have thought of it. It should be always, you should get the information that somebody has ditched it. So you ask for the information from him. What is your tender? What is their tender? What made them to give it? Then with that material, you can go to your seniors and project your case. Then there will be a lot of changes. I was again and again repeatedly asking, how will you get the information unless you get the information? RTA should have come to you. Anyway, all the best.
As my colleagues have said, little bit of confidence, modulation in voice, and your awareness is good. So I think you can be a bit more fluctuating in voice. So that will attract and also drive home your point. Smile can disarm a person, but only your confidence and ability to state things well will win the day for you. So I think you should be aware. Now, for example, about L&T, I think the L&T company wanted to exit. There are so many reports in newspapers saying that they want to exit the metro project. So you did not even realize that. So, in terms of putting through points, I think you need to be very structured, because you are coming from a management background. Management is your forte. Technology is the tool. So you have such a good combination that you are prone to high expectation from the panel. So I think you'll be very focused. Finally, you observed this. Is it just chukka antaru adena?
No, sir.
No.
Vibhuti and Kumkuma.
Okay. Because we are living in a stage where hijab, scientific temper. There are many issues which are on debate. So somebody asks you and you defend scientific temper and you are carrying superstition on you. So you land in trouble. For example, my mother used to keep this chukka somewhere here. Black is kajala. Kartika. So perhaps you should not give scope for unnecessarily getting into a very strong defense when you are conveying something opposite. Yeah? Thanks.
So you would have noticed that we were interested in constructively criticizing you, not praise you so much, so that you'll be able to build on your strengths and work on the areas where you need to work more. Okay. You have any clarifications to seek or any question?
So I have one question, sir. Sir, you had asked about the criticism on IAS. I was trying to be optimistic, but if I can give a more structured answer, how should I frame my answer, sir?
No, I think you have given your explanation very, very clearly, and which is also logical. The very fact that we have achieved so much in the country, and IAS has been there for a long time, part of the success has to be given to the IAS and other services also. But of late, there has been a deterioration in the standards in all walks of life, not just in IAS or government services. It reflects the transformation that the society is undergoing. So therefore, just because there are problems here and there, you cannot totally criticize. And the person who has criticized, there is also a counter article saying he himself is a senior officer who is responsible for the downfall. Yeah. Somebody Patnaik has written there. Patnaik. So it's okay. It's your opinion. There is no definite structured answer. You may agree, you may disagree, as long as you put forth the required logic. And you have acquitted yourself very well by responding, saying that we have achieved so much. So that's fine, perfect.
Yeah, I think
that positiveness in your answers is very good.
Yeah.
And you also sound a sense of hope.
Yeah.
You don't give up. Yeah. That's very, very much required. For any problem, no problem can be sorted overnight. But you should not lose your hope as an administrator. Then you lose everything in the life.
So that is your personality test, not test of memory or your subject, your attitude.
No, in fact, to summarize, you have rightly pointed out that the IAS has contributed. Okay, now there is an issue, problem, decline. Like, journalists, we are continuously, criticized in the public now. So there is a decline. Now you bring in a lot of strengths, take up this challenge and try to improve. So you have a very continuum answer. Country is facing challenges, society is facing challenges. You have the wherewithal to address them. That's why I want to get in. I want to bring in this. So you are giving a balanced response, and why you want to.
Anything else? Okay, good.
All the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.